What's up, guys? Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan here on a late night Sunday. What the heck is going on? Hope you're doing really well. Here to share with you some thoughts, some observations on fantasy football. I want to talk to you about my personal draft strategy, which might give you a couple of ideas going into your fantasy football draft as we've hit that time of the year, guys. Second half of August into the first week of September. That's when those fantasy football drafts are going to be happening. Mine will be, for what that's worth to you, Labor Day weekend. Looking forward to that. I was kind of doing a lot of multitasking here on a Sunday night. I was watching some regular YouTube videos myself, getting ready, watching some other programs, and just looking up statistics for my draft. And I have some ideas for you. I have some things to share with you. So if you do like content this particular video, go ahead, hit the thumbs up. That would be awesome. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. So let's get started, guys. I spoke to you last weekend about quarterbacks and running backs. You can check that video out as well on my channel. Want to touch a little bit also now on wide receivers and tight ends. But really, that's more of like the second part, or the second most important part of this video. The main meat and potatoes, if you will, of this particular video is what my strategy is going to be, because after looking up information on the different positions and things like that, I've come up with a strategy that I'm going in with, and I certainly hope no one that will be in my fantasy football draft will be watching this. No, just joking. Don't want to give away my strategies, right? So here it is, guys. Over the years, I first started playing fantasy football. Now, of course, this is for head-to-head drafts, your regular head-to-head leagues. I think it was 1997, I believe, was my first fantasy football draft, which was when the stats would actually get posted. We even had them, I think, printed out the first few years. That was back in the stone age of fantasy football, right? And back then, I remember the first couple of years, running backs were huge. And this theme would go on. It was such a big part of the draft. And then it would go on for maybe 5-6 years, and then it just kind of faded out for a while. Then it was more quarterbacks, wide receivers. We've definitely come full circle, right? Definitely come full circle. It's got this year in particular, 2021, is going to be huge with running backs, guys. As we all know, a solid 20 deep. That's the good news, meaning there's tons of running backs that, barring they all go into the draft healthy, into your fantasy football draft healthy, and I hope they all do. You're looking at guys as far as rankings, 16 to 20, guys like Chris Carson, David Montgomery, depending on the ranking that you're looking at or that you're checking out. This was more of a cumulative one that I have, where a few experts, and they came up with these types of rankings. 16 to 20, again, Chris Carson, Dave Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Detroit, Josh Jacobs, the Raiders. He's a proven guy. Miles Sanders. So you're going at least 20 deep, right, at running back this year, fantasy football. So what does that mean? When you put your strategy together, now here's what I'm doing, guys. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. Hopefully you'll give me a thumbs up on this. But if you want to give me a thumbs down, go right ahead. I hope you don't do that, but knowing that there's a solid 20 running backs, if not a little bit more than 20, that are startable, meaning you start your 2 running backs on your team and on your roster in your standard 10-team league. Now if your league is is more than 10 teams, if it's 12, you want to just adjust accordingly. You want to adjust accordingly your strategy. But in your standard 10-team league, right, your first 3 rounds, basic math will tell us that this would be the top 30 players. Are 20 running backs going to go in the top 30 players picked? Very easily that could happen. And that's another give or take situation. Could be a few less, could be a few more. So you could be looking at 20, 22 running backs. They're going to be flying off the board, in my humble opinion, in all likelihood. So you should be okay, meaning if you draft another position in either the first or second round. I'm not saying you should definitely do that. I think I might. But here's my strategy. I'm going running backs as long as I get my 2 top running backs in the first 3 rounds. That's the key. Because is there a huge difference between an Ezekiel Elliott and a David Montgomery? All right, I have Elliott ranked 5th, Montgomery ranked 17th, in one of the rankings I'm looking at here. You tell me, because Montgomery is a pretty darn good player. So, yes, that is my strategy. So what is specifically, what does that mean? That means I might go for a Mahomes early. I could try a Travis Kelce, who's definitely the class player at tight end. I mean, he's the premier guy. I mean, 11 touchdown receptions last year, over 1,400 yards. I mean, the guy is just a tight end producing machine. And he is a notch above everyone else. Last year, it clearly was. And yeah, there's up-and-coming guys like Hawkinson from Detroit, Andrews from Baltimore, Mark Andrews. Yes, he's a very good player. But none of these guys are even George Kittle's very good. Ranked 2nd in a lot of the rankings, deservedly so. But there's only one Travis Kelce. So if you want to take a shot on a Travis Kelce late first round, I wouldn't say early first round, or second round, more ideally, you're not going to hear any criticisms from me. You certainly are not. Where I come into play, meaning what I might do, since I don't know where I'm going to be drafted in the first round, I don't know yet. I'll know my pick position 30 minutes prior to my draft, which is September 4th. It's a Saturday night. If I have a late first round pick and Patrick Mahomes is on the board, it's going to get awful tempting not to take Patrick Mahomes. He is the number 1 quarterback, guys. We know that. Is Josh Allen really good too and should be ranked 2nd? Absolutely. Would I take Josh Allen in the first round? Probably not. Unless I was a Bills fan. Then I might. But if I had a late first round pick, Mahomes sitting around 9 or 10 overall, maybe even 8, I might go for him. McCaffrey's already off the board. That means Dalvin Cook's gone. Derrick Henry's probably gone. Kamara might be probably gone. So now I'm left with, here's a question for you. You have Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones looking. You can easily get them maybe at, let's say, 8 or 9. Do you take them or do you take Mahomes? I might go with Mahomes. And then I'll worry about my running backs next 2 rounds because you want to get them in. 2 of your first 3 picks, in my humble opinion, should be running backs. Or at least consider that strategy, right? Tyreek Hill had a monster season for the Chiefs. I mean, if you want, this was last year, of course. So the Chiefs are awful tempting to take in your fantasy draft. You want to go Tyreek Hill, late first round, second round, go right ahead. But where you might get into trouble is if you go like Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen, or Mahomes in the first 3 rounds, and now what are you doing? Now you only get 1 running back. See, you want to get those running backs in. I'm telling you guys, if you want to gamble and maybe get your second running back in the 4th round, go right ahead. I don't know if I would advise that. Other wide receivers deep, though, this year. It's deep. It's also deep. I mean, Devontae Adams. You got Brown, Tennessee, A.J. Brown. Ridley's looking really good this year. Calvin Ridley's the main guy in Atlanta. Metcalf, Seattle. Don't forget about Diggs, Godwin, and Evans for the Buccaneers. McLaurin, Washington, came on strong last year. Terry McLaurin last year, he was at over 1,100 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. Not many touchdowns, but over 1,100 yards receiving. CeeDee Lamb's up and coming. Cooper Kupp, Thielen. I mean, it's pretty deep. It's not completely deep, though. I mean, it's like 12 to 15 deep, guys. Top players. Chase Claypool coming on strong. Pittsburgh Steelers. Robert Woods of the Rams. I've had him the last few years. Some games he was. What did he finish with last year? Let me just take a look real quick, guys. Robert Woods last year, because Kupp was getting a lot of the light, shall we say? He rushed for 155 yards, by the way. They use him in the running game sometimes. Those end arounds. He had a pretty decent year. 936 yards, 6 touchdowns. Not bad. So Robert Woods, you can get. That's going to be when you get into the 4th to 8th round. That's the fun part of the draft, really. If you set up your team the way you want to set it up, and you're feeling good about the first 3 rounds, rounds 4 through 8 could be fun. But that's really what separates the pretenders from the contenders, guys. So I will leave you with this. Go in, have a first. Two things on this upcoming draft. You want to have a first 3-round strategy. I just share with you mine. I'm going 2 of my picks in the top 3 rounds will be running backs. Not exactly sure if I will go running back in the first round because that all depends on where I'm going to get my first round pick. If I get it late, I'm probably not going to go running back. If I get it early, sure. If I get the first pick in the draft, I'm going McCaffrey. If I get the second pick, I'm probably going Dalvin Cook, right? 3rd, Derrick Henry. That's the cream of the crop, in my opinion. Nick Chubb is interesting. I mean, there's some really good running backs, guys. Jonathan Taylor's underrated. But that's my strategy. First 3-round strategy, I'm going to get 2 running backs first 3 rounds, 4 through 8. That's where you go. You got to play it. You got to play how the hand you got there. You're gonna play it that way. Check out your receivers. Have a game plan for your receivers. It looks like roughly you got about 15 that are ahead of the rest of the pack. Maybe 16. Running backs, you got solid 20 to 22. Okay, tight ends, it looks like once again it's Kelce and everyone else. And quarterbacks, you can get yourself a decent quarterback. And guys like Stafford's ranked 12th, right? He's interesting on the Rams. New home on the Rams. L.A. Burrow's 13. Cousins 16. How about Ryan Fitzpatrick? Maybe just save him. Just get him. The Redskins. He's ranked 18th on that cumulative ranking I was telling you about with some of the experts that I saw last weekend. So leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.